Welcome to Tales from the African Horizon.
The immigration process. The price of a dream. Chike, Tunde's younger cousin, refreshes his email repeatedly, his heart pounding. The subject line appears. Application approved. He stared at it in disbelief before shouting excitedly, attracting curious glances from nearby customers in the cyber cafe. Fumbling, he dials Tunde's number in Canada. Chike, it's 3 a.m. here. What? Bro, I got it. Canada approved my visa. Tunde sits up in bed, grinning. That's amazing. Congratulations. But listen, this is just the beginning. You have a long road ahead. The next few weeks were filled with tension. Chike realizes his settlement fund is nowhere near enough. He debates selling his car, but his family protests. Kwesi, Mensah's cousin from Ghana, hits a roadblock when his uncle withdraws financial support. He's left scrambling for an alternative. Moreover, as interest rate was fluctuating and increasing with no hopes of dropping, expected settlement fund also increased. Mensah had already warned Kwesi of discrepancy, as immigration officers at the point of entry sometimes confirms this. Oluchi, Nkechi's younger sister, considers taking out a high-interest loan to meet her study visa requirements. Her sister Nkechi, already in Canada, warns her of the risk. Okay, Emeka's cousin, who is a struggling businessman, was confident in his savings. He dismisses Emeka's warning that money burns faster in Canada than expected. After buying tickets and buying African foodstuff to bring along, his financial overconfidence started dwindling. Fatima, who is Aisha's childhood friend, newly married, trusts her husband Farouk's financial planning, but deep down, she had doubts. As they prepare to leave, resistance mounts from their loved ones. You're leaving everything behind for an uncertain future. Chike's mother cries. Stay and build your country. Kwesi's older brother argues. You may come back broke and regretting it. Oluchi's best friend warns. Despite the doubts and emotional turmoil, each of them boards their flight. The airport goodbyes were tearful, full of lingering embraces and final words of advice. Fatima's father whispers, "Never forget who you are, my daughter, no matter where you go." At the airport, final checks are made, documents checked, tickets and boarding pass verified. Chike flips through his passport nervously, waiting to board. Kwesi hugs his best friend one last time. Fatima grips her husband's hand as they take their first flight together. The plane takes off. Oceans pass beneath them. City lights twinkle in the distance. The journey has begun. Tunde's voice narrates. The hardest part is not leaving. It's surviving once you arrive. Episode 2. Arrival and settling down. Reality hits hard. Welcome to Canada. The immigration officer's voice was warm but distant. Chike held his passport tightly. Stepping into the arrival hall, everything felt surreal. The polished floors, the clean air, towering glass windows that reflected his overwhelmed expression. The cold hit them before they even left the airport. Kwesi shivered, rubbing his hands together, remembering he had been advised to travel during summer, but he brushed that aside as he argued he couldn't wait several months before coming to Canada to settle down. Now, the reality hits. Bro, this is serious. This cold is not normal. He muttered to Chike. Welcome to Canada. Chike responded with a nervous laugh. This is our new home now. Their first night in Canada was anything but glamorous. Chike had planned to stay with Tunde for a few weeks, but he quickly realized that Tunde also had other relatives doing the same. Kwesi, confident he could afford rent immediately, gasped when he saw the price of even a modest one-bedroom apartment. He had assumed things would be cheaper, brushing aside all advices from Kwame. Oluchi, staying temporarily with Nkechi, felt a growing guilt about being a burden as she watched Nkechi struggle with work and children. Oke, who had planned to buy furniture, was shocked by how expensive even a second-hand mattress was. Fatima noticed that her husband Farouk was acting distant, avoiding conversations about where they would live, since they were still staying with Aisha. Kwesi and Chike were chatting. Kwesi says, Bro, I saw a one-bedroom apartment for 1,800 Canadian dollars. That's more than my entire budget. Chike replies, and you haven't even paid for eating, no internet yet, or groceries. The first few weeks flew by, and the reality of survival jobs set in. Kwesi landed a warehouse job within a month. It paid minimum wage, and the 10-hour shifts left him exhausted. I studied engineering for this. Chike struggled with job application, realizing his African work experience didn't hold much weight in Canada. Oluchi, determined to start earning, reluctantly took a cleaning job while waiting for her nursing credentials to be reviewed before starting a nursing program at the university. Oke held on to his pride, refusing to take menial jobs, though his savings were depleting fast. Fatima had expected her husband to be more settled, but he was also still looking for work. Stress started mounting in their marriage. Oluchi said one day, I came here to be a nurse, and that I will be. Even though I'm scrubbing office floors now, I will surely get there. You have to start somewhere. This is Canada, Nkechi advised, knowing fully well she was not following up on requirements for admission to start a nursing program. Chike misses all the home cooked meals as he did not have much time to cook and started eating out. The silence in Canada felt unnatural. Kwesi was used to noise and energy of Ghana but found Canadian life isolating. Fatima found herself crying more often, feeling lonely and disconnected from home. Oke, still jobless, swallowed his pride and borrowed money from Chike. Chike sat by his window, staring at an unfamiliar city. He had worked a 12-hour shift and his body ached. This wasn't how he pictured life in Canada. His phone rang. Gling, 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 gling. It was his mother from Nigeria. My son, how are you? How is Canada? Hope you are enjoying yourself. She had so much questions to ask. Chike forced a smile. It's great, Mama. We are settling in. But deep down, he knew the struggle had only begun. Although his voice gave him away, as his mother was not convinced it was fine. The harsh reality of settlement and how quickly the dream of a new life can sometimes turn into survival mode in a foreign land had settled in. Episode 3: Mental Preparedness. When doubt creeps in. Kwesi sat at the edge of his mattress, staring at his first paycheck. The amount was barely enough to cover rent, let alone food and transport. His dreams of financial stability seemed further than ever. He rubbed his temples, exhaustion creeping in. Had he made a mistake? Chike, sitting across from him, scrolled through job rejection emails. Man, they don't even respond anymore. He muttered. Oluchi, returning from her cleaning shift, sighed heavily. I was in the top 5% of my nursing class back home. Now I scrub floors. What are we even doing here? The initial excitement of moving had faded, replaced by daily exhaustion. Kwesi questioned if engineering was still an option for him or if he was doomed to minimum wage jobs. Chike began avoiding calls from home, too ashamed to admit he was jobless and still struggling. Oluchi felt resentful, seeing international students like her succeed while she was stuck in survival mode. Oke, who still had no job, felt invisible and useless. Fatima, alone in the house most days, battled loneliness and regret, wondering if she had sacrificed too much for her marriage. Chike, Kwesi, and Oluchi were having a conversation. Chike said, back home, hard respect. Yeah, I feel like I'm just trying to survive each day. Oluchi responded by saying, sometimes I wonder if I should have stayed back. I thought I was ready for this, but I wasn't. Calls from family back home only made it worse. Questions like, how is Canada? Are you making money? The pressure to succeed was suffocating. Chike's mother asked for financial support, unaware that he barely had enough to eat. Oluchi's father reminded her about repaying the loan she took to relocate. Fatima's husband told her she should be grateful they were in Canada, even though she felt isolated and miserable. They all had to find a way to cope with stress and finding support. Each of them tried different coping strategies. Kwesi started running in the mornings, using exercise as a stress relief, while Chike attended a free mental health workshop at the community center and learned about immigrant support groups. Oluchi found comfort in talking to Nkechi, who reassured her that the struggle was temporary. Uke started journaling, reflecting on his journey and writing down small victories. Fatima joined an online forum for immigrant wives, where she finally felt heard. So Nkechi was advising Oluchi one day, saying, it gets better, Oluchi, but you have to find ways to cope. No one tells you how hard it is at first. I'm just tired of pretending everything is fine. Chike stood outside in the cold, breathing deeply. His journey was far from over, but for the first time, he realized he wasn't alone. They all had different battles, but together, they would push through. The dream was still alive. It was just going to take longer than they all expected. Episode 4: Attending settlement programs and applying for jobs. The reality check. Kwesi stared at his phone, his inbox filled with rejection emails. We regret to inform you. The same sentence over and over again. How do they expect us to have Canadian experience if they won't even give us a chance? He muttered to Chike, frustrated. Chike, sitting beside him in their small apartment, sighed. This country is something else. Back home, we were respected professionals. Here, we're just numbers on a list. The group quickly realizes that securing jobs in Canada is not as straightforward as they thought. Chike applies for engineering jobs but gets no responses. He lowers his expectations and applies for customer service roles, only to be told he is overqualified. Kwesi sends out dozens of IT applications but gets no response because he lacks Canadian work experience. They had been advised by their relatives about all these realities. Living through it was totally different. Oluchi, frustrated by the delay in her nursing credentials, tired thinking of working as a caregiver, but is unsure if it's a step forward or backward. Moreover, Nkechi had already advised of tendencies to relent in one's dream once the morale drops, and getting back on track sometimes becomes impossible. Tunde and Mensa invites the group to attend settlement programs, government-funded workshops that teaches immigrants how to navigate the job market. The group attends a resume building workshop and realizes their style of CV isn't formatted the Canadian way. They learned that jobs can also be secured through referrals and not only through online applications. Oluchi meets other foreign-trained nurses who share tips on how to fast-track our application process by getting academic transcripts that enhances credit transfer. At first, some of them were skeptical about attending the settlement programs, but as they apply the lessons learned, they start to see progress. Chike says, "You mean I've been using the wrong resume format this whole time? No wonder I wasn't getting any interviews. This networking thing is real. The guy I met at the event just referred me to his company," said Chike. After weeks of effort, small victories began to emerge. Chike gets his first job interview for an entry-level engineering position. Kwesi finally lands a contract IT job, though it's temporary. Oluchi starts volunteering at the nursing home, giving her valuable experience. Okay reluctantly takes a survival job at a supermarket, but it helps him pay his rent. Fatima and Farouk learn to budget properly, reducing their financial stress. Kwesi checks his email and sees something different from the usual rejection messages. His eyes widen. "I got the job!" he exclaims, jumping from his seat. Chike pats him on the back. "See? We just have to keep pushing." Oluchi, watching from across the room, smiles. One step at a time, right? The struggle wasn't over, but for the first time, hope felt real.